Somebody tell me what is this underscore physics underscore version? 148? Yes, and 148.
Yes, ma'am.
What is this underscore physics underscore version?
Uh, it tells us the version.
Yeah, it tells us the version, but is it a code? Is it a macro or what?
Mom?
Is it a code or it is just like that you are going to use some syntax or something like that? What is it? It's a macro.
It's a macro. We using that we can later call that and call it by that name.
It's not a function kind of thing to call it. So you can make use of it in order to print the version of POSIX. It's a macro. Where is it defined?
Uh,
Where are these things defined? Under unistd.h. So in the last class, I just opened this manual page of unistd.h and I also showed you POSIX underscore version as well as term restricted, all those feature test macros also I showed. Were you present for the previous class?
uh, I wasn't there on Friday.
Okay, fine. Not Friday's class. I took the class on Thursday, I think.
No, I'm audible, mom.
Are you not audible?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Hello.
You are audible. Okay, you see
Yes.
here. Fine. See here.
Yes, ma'am.
For the questions that I am showing, it will be helpful for you to answer for the exam also. So that is why I'm just glancing at that. Um, because I know that most of you are very much concentrating much on your uh, placements, all those things. At least maybe that it will be useful to you. That's why I'm just displaying all these things. Fine. So list out. Next question is list out all POSIX 1 and 1b define system configuration limits in manifested constants with complete time limit, minimum value, and meaning. So you need to uh, provide system configuration limits with value. See, most of the times they are not going to ask this question in this way because the limit values and all they don't ask. So they might ask you to mention system configuration limits. So what is the answer that you're going to give for this? Is it few of you at least do you have material for this? Material in the sense textbook for the subject. Do you have?
No, ma'am. No,
You have got?
no, mommy, ma'am.
If you want, I'll just click a few pages of the textbook and I can send you so that at least you can go through. Say for system configuration limit, you are going to make use of the functions. So all of you just carefully listen to me. So you can make use of the functions called syscon, pathconf, and fpathconf function. So you have to notice the difference between these three functions. So syscon especially you are going to use in order to check the system bind limits. And pathconf and fpathconf you are going to use in order to check the limits on file basis. On each and every file, there will be a different type of limit that will be implemented. So those limits you are going to check using pathconf or fpathconf. So sysconf you are going to use. Why do you use sysconf? Why do you use sysconf? 60. 60 in CS60. May I know who is this? You told that you are attending for the first class. 16 CS60. Are you there? Are you there? So this is how you attend the class, I think. Are you there? And later you will say I've come for the first class, second class. Huh? What is this? 212? I think it's Pratik.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you use Cisco? Cisco. Just answer to me, Pratik. Why do you use Cisco function? Is that you don't know? You know or not? Pratik, do you know or not? Is that you people don't want to answer to me? 250, 215. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. In the first class.
What's your name?
I'm Ujjwal.
Ujjwal. Okay, Ujjwal. What's your number?
215, ma'am.
Okay, fine. 167.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you explain what is the difference between syscon, pathcon functions?
Syscon returns the system configuration limits, ma'am.
Okay, what do you mean by system
There is,
configuration limits?
ma'am,
What do you mean by system configuration limit? Any idea? Any idea regarding this?
it's like option, I guess, ma'am.
Okay. See, every
It's like
system
a variable or an option.
every system will have some kind of limitation. So that limitation you can check on the system using syscon function. Right? For example, it can be any resource that you are going to use. Like it can be the number of child processes that you are going to create. So you are going to check the limitation. So because once you cross the limitation, so then it generates an error saying that you cannot be allocated that resource. Okay, that limit that you are going to check using syscon. And what is the
Yes.
pathcon function? Why do you use pathcon?
Same thing, ma'am, but for files.
On file basis, on file per file
Yes, ma'am.
basis you are going to check what is the difference between pathconf and fpathconf function. See, look at the parameters that you are going to pass. See, for pathconf we'll be passing a path name as parameter, right? For fpathconf we'll be
Yes.
passing a file descriptor as parameter. What is the difference between path name and file descriptor?
Path name will give the entire path, ma'am, whereas file,
Hmm. File descriptor.
it just gives the file name, like only the file.
Okay, in the later classes, you'll get to know that what exactly is this file descriptor. Okay, whenever we try to
Okay.
open the file, it will be returning a file descriptor as the return value. Okay, that will be the file descriptor. Once after opening the file, you are going to make use of this file descriptor further in order to access that particular file. Fine. So
Okay.
that's the difference. So if you know the difference, just write what is the difference between these three functions, and you can list out few of the syscon limit names as well as pathcon and pathcon limit names, and at least some 5 to 10 limit names you can just remember. That will be more than enough. Fine. And you need not have to buy hard all these limit values and all. Fine. So next is POSIX compliant C or C++ program to check the following limits. What are feature test macros? So that is one of the most important questions that will be asked. What are feature test macros? How many feature test macros are there? Can somebody answer?
5
Five. What are they?
for 6 job control, for 6 saved IDS,
Hmm.
for 6 chown rest, for 6 no trunk, for
Channel
6 we disable.
we disable. What's the other one?
Right? No trunk,
No trunk.
no trunk.
Okay, okay. So only these three, but these five, if you mention and if you explain with a simple program in order to check them. In the last class, I also showed you, right? See, all those programs along with the PPTs I'll be posting, right? All of you just download, and it will be very helpful if you just go through the PPTs also. That will be more than enough. Um, and if possible, I'll be like for limits. There are that is, I'll be taking a pic of these limit values, and I'll also be posting you. So mark your limit names, and you can just by heart only those, only them, right? So maybe that if you have Fedora at home, you can just execute few programs so that you'll remember it for a longer time. Okay, in order to check the limits, all those things. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and this is to check the following limits. How do you check these limits? So what is maximum path length? Hmm? How do you check? See, in case of syscon for pathcon function, so you mentioned the limit name as for syscon. You have to use whatever the limit names that they are going to provide. Along with that, you have to use the prefix as underscore sc for syscon as the limit name. So for per file basis, you have to use underscore pc as the prefix. So if it is path, uh, that is path length. So then the limit name is path underscore max. Write down if you have got a notebook, write down. So this is, you just mention it as it is on per file basis. You are going to check this limit. Okay, path length you are going to check on per file basis. See, certain limits you are going to use only on pathconf and fpathconf, and certain limits you can also use for both, and certain it can be used only for syscon, right? So that is, the limit will be imposed only on system wide, and there are certain limits which can be imposed both on system wide as well as per file basis, and certain limits it can be imposed only on per file basis. Okay, so for pathcon, so you have to use on per file basis. On per file basis, what is the prefix that you want to use for the limit? What is the prefix that you are going to use for the limit? For pathconf, underscore pc,
Underscore.
right? Underscore pc, write down as underscore pc underscore path underscore max. Fine. Next, maximum characters in the file name. So this is also on per file basis. Write down as underscore pc underscore name underscore max. Underscore pc underscore name underscore max. And next is maximum number of open files per process. So this is system wide limit. So if it is system wide limit, how do you write? What is the prefix that you are going to use for system wide limit? Hmm? Underscore sc. Write down underscore sc underscore open underscore max. Next, number of clock ticks. This is also system wide limit. You can write down as underscore sc underscore CLK underscore TCK. See, if you go through the previous question papers, so most of these limit names also it has been repeated multiple times. So if you remember some 10 to 50, no, 5 to 10 limit names also, it is more than enough. So I'll also be posting all these previous year question papers, whatever I have downloaded. So you can just go through also. Right? So next I'm going to start with the next topic, next module. So that is POSIX files, Unix files. So next is module 2, Unix files. What is a file in Unix? So files are the building blocks of any operating system. Any operating system if you consider. So you are going to manage the files. But in case of Unix, each and everything will be stored in the form of files. So for example, if I want to execute a simple command in order to display all the files and directories or the subdirectories which are present in the current working directory that I am using, right? So what is the command that you are going to use in order to list all the files, directories and subdirectories? What's the command?
Make directory.
Make directory is to create the directory. Okay, ls is the command that you use to list all the files, folders,
List.
directories and subdirectories.
Yeah,
Okay, so there are different options that you can use along with ls, like ls minus l and
L minus L
fine. So
minus S.
yeah, even this command also is stored in the form of a file itself in Unix. Everything, that is every command, everything is stored in the form of a file itself, right? So that is why files
Yes, ma'am.
are very important in Unix. Yeah, of course, it is very important in each and every operating system, but in case of Unix, each and everything is stored in the form of a file itself. So whenever you execute any command in Unix, so see, as I told you that everything is stored in the form of a file, right? Even the command execution also it takes place as though it is going to execute a file itself. So as you know that each and every file will be stored in some particular location in the memory. So the file has to be fetched. And how do you execute any file on any operating system? By creating a process. So a process should be created in order to execute that file, and then the file will be executed through the process. Fine. So this is how even a simple command in Unix will be executed. Fine, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what are the different types of files what you can find on Unix?
Regular files.
Directory file, FIFO file.
Direct.
That is, you can categorize both of this character device file and block device files as device files. Okay. So can somebody tell me, because you are very much aware of all these types of files. Even in your OS also you studied in the previous semester. Right? What is a regular file? What's a regular file?
Mm, ma'am.
Regular file. What is a regular file? I think most of you know, but you don't want to answer, isn't it? 148. Who's 148? Are you available?
Hello? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is a regular file?
Regular files are all the different types of text files or image files that we have, which with normal permissions.
Okay. So the regular files are nothing but the normal files, whatever that you are going to create. Like you can store any type of data, like it can be the alphanumericals, all those you call it as regular files itself, right? So we are going to categorize the file types in Unix as these major categories. So that is regular files, director files, before files, and device files. Okay, last two you can categorize as device files. Fine. So the text files, you can call them as regular files. How do you create a file, a regular file? How do you create a regular file? How do you create a regular file in Unix? So you people,
Command using command line.
yeah, what is the command? See, most commonly you are going to make use of gedit and directly use it, but make it a practice that you also know the commands in order to create them. Yeah, what is the command? 424.
Cat command line.
Cat, is it cat?
Cat command line.
You are going to use vi. Cat is used to display the file, display the contents of the file. Okay, vi is the command. Write down if you have got the notebook. All of you write down. Vi is the command that you are going to use in order to create the file. If possible, I'll just open the virtual box and show you. Write down. Vi is the command that can be used in order to create a file. It's not that you can create any type of files using vi itself. So for regular files, right, you can make use of vi command in order to create the files. Don't say that you are going to use gedit, right? Okay. So how do you open the file? How do you open the file?
Yes.
And somebody told me that you are going to use cat. You can use cat command in order to open the file, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So once after using, you are going to close the file. So how do you close the file? How do you save the file in Unix? And that's what you people use gedit and directly you go to save, isn't it? So apart from that, you can
Yes.
use escape. Escape is the button that you can find on the keyboard, and then colon you can escape. The moment you press escape, it comes to the end of the window, and then you can press colon WQ. So this command will be saving the content whatever that you had written, right? So suppose that if you don't want to save and quit, you can use escape colon Q, right? So with this you can save the content whatever that you have updated, right? And then you can quit also. So WQ will be quitting also, fine. And then how do you remove the file? What's the command used to remove the file?
RM.
RM. Fine. Okay. See, suppose that if you are asked to write the different types of files available in Unix, it's not that you just mention that what is a file, what is the type of file, and you write the description of that. You also need to write the command, right? See, for this regular file, it is enough if you write the command in order to create and delete it. or remove it. Fine. So what is the command used to
Yes, ma'am.
create the file? Vi. What is the command to
Right.
delete the file? Rm.
R.
Fine. It's not.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these two commands, if you write, that will be enough. Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the next type of file?
Right.
Directory file. How do you create a directory file? How do you create a
Make
directory file?
make direct
Can you please repeat?
make directory. MKDI.
MKDIR. Okay. Write down what is a directory file. Basically, what is a directory file?
Choose the file.
Huh? What is a directory file? Directory file that is used to organize the files. Isn't it? It is like a folder that contains other files and subdirectories. Okay, so basically it is used to organize the files in some hierarchical structure. Write down if you are writing in a notebook. So it is used to organize the files in some hierarchical structure. It contains files and other subdirectories. Okay, and the command that is used in order to create the directory is the command which is used to create the directory is dir mkdir mkdir, and then you can give the entire path name of the folder that you want to create, or if you are creating the folder under the same directory, you can directly use it. Fine. Are you able to see the screen that I am displaying now? No.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm
Yes,
trying
ma'am.
to open the virtual box and I'm
Yes,
trying to
ma'am.
type some command. Fine. Can you see? Okay. Ls is the command that you can use in order to list all the
Yes,
files,
ma'am.
folders, and directories and this current working directory. Okay. So you can see
And
different version with the different color. So that is blue, right? So mkdir is the command that you can use in order to create directory.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Di- Direct.
Okay. So now I'm typing the command as mkdir and any folder name that I want to create as F1, right? A new folder will be created, right? So if I give ls, I can find the folder name with F1. How do I work with that folder? How do I access that folder? How do I access that folder? See now under this current query, so you can use change directory command. cd,
Cat.
okay, cd f1. Okay, you can notice that I have changed my directory to F1 now. Can you notice? Can you notice? Can you notice? Okay, so now you can work in under this directory called F1. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
If I want to come out of this directory, what is the command that you use? cd space dot dot, so
Yes,
that you can
ma'am.
come out of the directory. If you want to make a list of all these commands, and then if I want to remove the directory, I can make use of the command rmdir. Okay, F1, so that the entire directory will be removed. So if I use ls, so you don't find F1 directory. Is this clear? Yeah, somebody is asking something. Yeah, tell me.
No, just a doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
cd space double dot.
Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Isn't it CD space single dot?
Okay, let me just try and check.
Okay.
Let
I
me
mean,
just
single
try.
dot also, I remember it goes back to the origin directory. Parent directory.
It's not working. Can you find? Don't give space also, it doesn't work. Okay, it should be
Okay.
cd
Yes,
space
ma'am. It's
and
still
double
in the
dot.
same directory.
See, usually double dot indicates the current working
Okay.
directory. It just goes one directory
Double dot.
like that.
Thank you.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So whenever you are asked to write about directory files also, you need to write the command in order to create a directory and remove the directory. So just for your purpose, I have shown you how to get into a directory and come out of the directory also. Fine. So next is about block device files. So before that, let me just show you syscon for pathcon function
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
can make use of with an example. I'll just show you that. Let me just show you with the vi command itself. Okay, you can observe the program. See, why do you use these two lines, POSIX underscore source and POSIX underscore C underscore source? Why do you use it? Can anybody tell me? Why do you use it? To say that your program is compliant to POSIX standard. Is this clear? And you also can say that to filter out non-POSIX compliant codes. Is this clear? Okay, fine. And I have used
Yes, ma'am.
syscon, pathconf, and fpathconf functions here. So for syscon, I have used sc underscore open underscore max. So sysconf is used to check system-wide limits. So what is the maximum number of files that can be opened? Okay, what is the maximum number of files that can be opened by a process on the system, right? And path underscore max, so this is the maximum path characters that you can provide for a path name. And what is the slash? What does it indicate? What indicate? See, slash indicates the country. Okay, you can check on a directory also. But I told you about that you can use it for on per file basis, right? Is it directory as a file? Is it directory as a file? Yes, Unix streams directory also as a file itself. So that is why
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
checking that. So what is the
Yes,
maximum
ma'am.
number of characters that you can suggest for a part name for a directory, for the current working directory? So if you observe in the next one, so the the first parameter that we have given for pathconf is 0. Why is it? What is this? See, for fpathconf, we can pass the first parameter as the file descriptor, isn't it? Are you available? Yeah. What is the first parameter that you are passing for pathconf? 0.
Ma'am.
Can somebody tell me why are you passing the value as 0? See, you have to remember all these things. It's not that only for this chapter, for the entire of this course, you should be knowing these things, right? So write down if you have got the notebook. So write down that slash indicates the current working directory, and usually the standard input, output, and standard error, they have the file descriptors as 0, 1, and 2. Write down. 0 indicates the standard input. 1 indicates standard output. The file descriptors, always the file descriptors for standard input, output, and error will be 0, 1, and 2. Is this clear? Okay, that is why we are passing the file descriptor value as 0. What does 0 indicate?
Yes, ma'am.
Standard input. We are checking the pathconf limit for standard input,
Standard input.
which has got the file descriptor value as 0, right? See, if any of these macros is not defined, so then the value will be equal to -1. Okay. See, we are calling sysconf function, right? So what does sysconf return? What does sysconf return? Some integer value. So whether it is sysconf or pathconf or fpathconf, it will be returning some integer value as the return. Fine. See, API common characteristics I explained in the last class. What do you mean by API common characteristics? See, whenever you execute any API, right, it will be returning the value as -1 only if it is an error. Is this clear? So here also, if you are executing the sysconf function, if it is returning -1, it means that it is an error. There was some problem in executing this sysconf function. Fine. Is this clear? What are API common characteristics? What is API common characteristics? See, whenever you execute any function, what do you expect from a function? What do you expect from any function? 151. US in 151. What do you expect from a function? See, whenever I execute any function, whenever you execute any function, what do you expect?
Not
You expect the function to do something or to return a value, right? So even APIs are similar to functions,
Yes.
but what is the difference between APIs and functions? APIs execute in kernel mode, right? So whereas the user functions in user mode, fine. So that is the difference between API and function. And whenever you execute an API, also it has to return a value, fine. So if it is an error in executing the API, it will be returning the value as -1, or else it can be some other value. Is this clear? Is this clear? Okay. So I'm showing that
Yes,
if the
ma'am.
result is equal to -1, what
Yes,
does that
ma'am.
indicate? It indicates that there was some problem in executing this syscon function, right? Else the
Error.
result value will not be equal to -1. It will be equal to, it might be 0 also, or it might be some other value apart from that. Fine. So if it is an error, you'll be calling p error function. So p error function is defined in UniSTD, and you'll be passing for p error. You'll be passing the parameter as the name of the function itself. Fine. Is this clear? So similarly, for all pathcon, for a pathcon function also, I'm checking
Yes,
whether
ma'am.
there is some error in executing any of these functions. So if it is not an error, it will be printing the respective value for this macro, whatever that you are passing as argument. Fine. Let me just execute this program and show you. So if I want to save this file and come out, I'll be using escape colon WQ, so that I'll be saving and coming out of the program. So I'm going to execute this program. So what is the command to execute? It's a C++ program. I'll be using G++ syscon.cpp. It's taking some time. And to execute ./a.out. So you can see that the open underscore max value, it is 1024, right? So 1024 files can be opened by any process on the system. So that is system wide limit, and path name max is 4097. So the maximum length of characters that you can pass as the path name is 4097, and chown restricted option for stdin is 1, right? It means that restriction is imposed on the system and the value is 1. Is this clear? Okay, fine.
Yes,
So with
ma'am.
this, I'm going to wind up the class. Any doubts with respect to this? Any doubts? Okay, fine.
No, ma'am.
Let me continue in the next class with the device files and FIFO files. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
ಕಾರಣ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ.